And we're live.
I was thinking about this earlier. I hope this is original that I haven't thought of this or said it before, but how much weight would your significant other have to gain in spite for no reason? We're not talking about diabetes or health issues. We're not talking about depression even. We're not talking about any of that. We're saying that your significant other, for no reason at all, and she admits it 100%, is just eating ho-hos until she gains about 80 pounds because she's tired of holding back the waves. She's tired of holding all that back. She's going to embrace who she is, and this is who I am. This is my body, a woman's body, 212 pounds of it. Like, at what point?
Almost two women's bodies. Yeah.
I have to wonder, like, would I like it? Because I feel like if she was going to do that, then I would. It would be like a co-gift, right? Like, hey, we both turned 44 this year. We're giving each other 80 pounds of allowance. You know? We're just gonna bulk the fuck up on ho-hos together and keep it as a partnership.
Oh, that sounds awful. I would say, man, there'd have to be a hard line at like 200 because that is that's just kind of like psychologically like 200 pounds and you're a woman. Like we were talking about our significant others.
How much?
Melissa,
I'm sorry, how much do
small
you weigh,
girl.
Taylor?
I weigh like in the 190s, so almost
exactly.
200.
So
Yeah.
she's outweighing you at this point. I think that's important because if you're like a dude who's 240, maybe it's not as psychologically insane if your wife is 190, but if you're a $165 and your wife's 190 in her scooter or something.
Well, it's also that Melissa's like my significant other's like 5'5" and thin, and so imagining her getting all the way up to 200 pounds is like that wouldn't be like someone my size gaining 90 pounds or 80 pounds.
Yeah, I think all three of us have significant others who are very slender.
But
yeah, it would be like.
Wait, what was the question? How much would they have to gain before you dump?
At what point are you like, look, I'm done here. I'm leaving you. This is over.
Okay, yeah.
And it's not for a medical issue. It's just laziness. I'm going to say 200. Hard stop at 200.
You should tell her that, and she should know that you love her.
No, she can't know that. No.
Oh man, if I'm your girlfriend and you tell me that I could plump on up to a $195, and
God,
I'm like, really? God, I love you, Taylor.
Yeah.
you were. What did he say to the Khaleesi? You were the moon of the light of my.
You are my sun and stars. Yes.
My sun and stars. Like you're her sun and stars at that point. If she could plump on up to a $195, I'll be honest.
Well,
I think
no. 200 is a hard stop. If you get to like 190 and then that sticks around for like 8 months, that clock's ticking. You know, and you're not moving down.
Or she may at 190, maybe she needs to do something to offset it. Like, all right, 190, but I get breakfast in bed and sex every day. Or if you still want that, then there could be something she could do to offset it.
At the same time,
what if she makes a ton of money? Right? It's like, all right, she's 190 pounds, but she's worth 10 million, and you get breakfast in bed. You might be like, I accept this package.
Yeah, I don't know. If she's worth 10 million, I can deal with a lot of weight. As a matter of fact, I'll bring the food to you. You stay in bed. You want to get married? You know?
I don't know if it's so much an actual number as it is when you start getting the look on your friends' faces when they see you together like that. Oh,
yeah.
Like they start honestly feeling bad for you, and guy.
There is definitely a number. I don't know. I think my girlfriend's maybe 120 pounds. At 150, there's something very wrong. If she has, if she's added 25% of her body weight to herself rapidly, then like for the fun of it, it's like you gotta go. There's no excuse to gain 25% of your body weight for no fucking reason. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't all of a sudden jump on up to 100, like 240 pounds. Yeah, math. I wouldn't do that. Yeah.
I think your percentage argument's probably the better way to go.
Yeah,
as opposed to a hard number. But I don't want to take up any more time, but that makes sense. Woody?
The number that I'd leave her at? I don't know.
To leave her. That you're like, come on, kids, we gotta get out of here before she eats you too.
Because I'm really embedded. Like we've been together in April. It'll be 25 years if you include the dating part, or 26, I think. It's already 25.
So 3 pounds for you, huh?
It's we've got 2 kids, and I don't know.
145 pounds.
How fat would your children have to get before you disown them?
Willy Wonka style, where you're rolling them in the room.
You roll them off of your giant estate. Fend for yourself, kids, until you
Woody's a good guy. You could tell he just would stay. He'd be the husband. We see them all the time in the store and out. He would stay. He'd be bummed, but he couldn't say anything and couldn't leave. So it would just kind of be like, it's my wife. I've relegated myself to this.
We all had that friend when we were little who had like a cool dad, but you'd go over to their house and you'd see like cool dad of like, wow, he lets us play like street hockey at night and he lets us do all this cool stuff. And then this big, enormous woman would come out, just girthy and disgusting, and be like, this cool dad is married to that lady. And then as soon as she walks in, the reality of that he's experiencing of like, I'm like a kid again too, life's opportunities, all these places I could go. And then he sees his wife and that little spark of death of like, this is the dead sow that I've hitched my life to, and now I can't leave. Like,
I'll never forget. I was in like middle school or something, probably like ninth grade. I was in ninth grade. And we all like spent the night over to a friend's house, and it was his birthday, and his mom made 2 cakes. There was 1 cake for the party and 1 cake for herself.
Oh God.
And you will never believe which one was the bigger cake.
The one for her?
The one for her. Now the one for the party was a layered cake. It was round and like multiple layers frosted, and it was done nicely. It was made to be oh, look at that nice cake. Yeah, let's all have a bit. The one she made for herself was a pancake. She took the same mixed frosting and everything, and in a pan that was like 13 inches from corner to corner, she just made this huge sheet cake. And all night, throughout the night, while we chilled out in the living room and played video games, she made trips through, back and forth into the kitchen with a heaping of cake and a glass of milk. And she'd come back 20 minutes later with an empty plate and an empty glass of milk, and she'd fill on up again. And I just remembered thinking, like, there's not going to be any milk for us in the morning. There's going to be no cereal in the morning because she's drinking.
I bet she's eating that cake. I bet she she knows what she's doing to herself. I assume she wasn't fit.
Yeah, of course. That's the thing with like
you
anytime
yeah, I made that assumption. I
guess I left that part out. She was a real big fat. She was a great big fat person.
Yeah. So like afterwards, she's just hating herself for it. Like she has a psychological disease, a mental illness that's causing her to do that. Yeah,
it's the same way like someone who's doing, I don't know, drinking all day every day or doing heroin or something. Like probably as they're shooting up, they're not like, life's back on track. They're just thinking like, this will stave the pain away for a little longer, and then I'll deal with reality when it comes back. That's kind of what she's doing with cake.
What do you think of that thing that heavy people say where they're like, food addiction is the toughest one to kick because you have to keep eating, right? Like you can give up heroin and then just remove it from your life. You can do that with cocaine. You can do it with whatever, cigarettes, etc. But you can't give up food and remove it from your life. You're giving up certain types of food.
There aren't any fat people who like food more than me. There just aren't. I crave food all the time. I like to cook. I like cheap bargain brand Taco Bell, and I like $100 fucking filet mignon. I love all food. It's delicious. I like sweet and sugary and salty and it all. I crave it. I crave it constantly. But I do my own fucking shopping, and when I'm at the store, I don't go down the cookie aisle. Not once ever will I go down the cookie aisle. I might eat some junk occasionally and like, I did some crazy last night. Went to Taco Bell, got those cinnamon fucking balls with
twists,
with the jizz frosting injected in.
Even worse.
So when you bite, it just comes
bukkake cinnamorolls, right.
Like each and every one is busting a nut of deliciousness in your mouth. I ate the whole bag, but I won't buy a big bag of Chips Ahoy. I won't buy a big gallon of sweet tea or something. I drink soda, but I'm drinking diet soda. I love fucking food, but I weigh 185 pounds, and I'll never get above 200 pounds in my fucking life. It'll never happen again. Because I put my foot down in a major way with that when I was like 220 pounds when I was hanging out with Taylor. That's insane for my like build and everything and my musculature. It makes no sense for me to be 225. It's outrageous.
I don't know why fat people it's looked at like, you could be fat and happy, and to say anything about them, their health is bad to do. It's body shaming or what have you. But you could absolutely bring up the medical consequences of anorexia and say that's a mental disorder. You have a problem. You need help. But fat people, it's like, you can't say that to me. That's not PC.
It's because there are so many fat people.
Maybe
there are so many of them that I guess once you get enough of those people together, they just start getting shit done.
It can't be a disorder anymore. It has to be just part of the human experience.
Yeah. If we're all this bad at eating, it can't be an endemic
Then
problem.
it can't be bad. Then it's normal.
Yeah, you notice that happens quite a bit.
Also, like you hear people say like, oh, I'm fat and happy, I just want to be happy and eat whatever I want. I've never met anyone, and maybe there's someone out there, I sincerely doubt it, but I've never met anybody who lost a bunch of weight, who used to be really heavy, who told me, nah, I kind of liked being fat. Everyone is like, oh my God, I woke up every morning and I hated myself and I looked in the mirror and I thought, you stupid idiot, and I'd go drown my sorrows in a bunch of pancake batter. And then the next morning I'd wake up and do it again. Then when I finally got it on track, I felt like I had my life back. Like that's what the answer you get. It's never, nah, I was happy being borderline immobile and having people not be as attracted to me and me not liking the way I look in clothes. Like that's the biggest way you can find out you're getting fat quick, is if regular people clothes start to look bad on you, where like you put on like an unfitted medium shirt and you're like, oh Jesus, look at these lumps, this is disgusting, I got to get this out of here. But
I had a dream about being too fat like last night. I think I dreamed I was in a UFC fight that I had to make like 170, which is 35 pounds under me, and I'm there in the sauna cutting weight with all the other UFC fighters, and the one guy's trying to cut 15, the other guy's trying to cut 20, and I'm trying to cut 35, and they're all like, oh, sucks to be you. Yeah, you're too fat. You can't fight at that weight class. Like, could you get him to agree to the next weight class? And I'm like, 185. How much do you think
my hand weighs?
I don't think I can make 185 either. I'm just fucked in this situation. I don't know what I'm gonna do. And that was like the big stress sort of conflict of the dream that I had. I was even like Joe Lozon was there, and he's like trying to be a friend of me and everything, but he's like, Woody, it's 35 pounds. No, it's not gonna happen. Couldn't cut it.
Yeah. Got to cut an arm off to get there, buddy. It's not gonna
like
work.
in 7.
Like
Man,
a leg.
that was an upsetting scene in 7 when that lawyer had to cut off like 5 pounds of fat in his office, or otherwise they would, I guess, kill him.
Yeah.